Radio Max in Takrady, Ganga FM in Jirapa, Pad FM in Delmango, and also on ATL FM in Cape Coast on digital. You can go Spotify, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com app. In this edition,
I'm not still sure whether she was in fact deported or whether she fled the country the first time and has now come back. But whatever, there still seems to be some uncertainty about it.
President Akufo-Addo admits there are uncertainties surrounding purported deportation of Chinese illegal miner Aisha Wang. But how did she manage to evade security to re-enter Ghana?
She didn't turn up at the police station and say, I am Aisha. So that in itself is also telling you that people are not sleeping. Obviously, she didn't try plastic surgery to change her appearance, but she even came under a different name.
We have more as the president gives a blow-by-blow account of the Aisha Wang arrest, plus a push for the dismissal of the Immigration Service boss.
The situation is going to get worse if the tree doesn't go.
And there's a looming threat of potential ban of Ghana's cocoa from the EU markets, coupled with declining yield as a result of illegal mining. Government, however, maintains its fight against the canker is on course.
I know it goes into the groundwater and it comes up through the food chain. And I think Japan has either reduced or banned cocoa.
Also, Lembele DC Kwesi Bonzo alleges a calculated scheme geared at cowing him to back off his quest to end illegal mining.
If you arrest one Galamsey, the number of people who call you to intervene on his behalf, you have no idea. The interesting part was that there was an attempt to blackmail me.
Scores of people stranded in several communities in the northeast region as Bagri Dam spillage leaves homes, farmlands and roads submerged.
And when it's not mature like that, when you harvest them, you don't have place to dry them. So normally at times, most of them will spoil. So because of the Bagri Dam that we are harvesting them early like that.
I'll give you details about the annual situation. Also in sports.
Well, former CEO of Kumasi Asante Kotoko Opokunti has cautioned the fans of Kumasi Asante Kotoko to be very careful relative to the expectation about the class performance in the CAF Champions League.
And later in the bulletin, we have the incredible rise to fame of 22-year-old Ghanaian musician Black Sheriff, who's been nominated for the prestigious BET Awards in his third year as a musician. We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Thank you for choosing us. Let's settle for details. And with growing concerns about the activities of Aisha Wang, a notorious Chinese lady also known as the Galamsey Queen in Ghana, President Akufo-Addo says he's unsure she was initially deported from the country. According to him, her re-emergence raises concerns about whether she left Ghana in the first place. We have more from the president shortly, but first, though, listen to the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Yahweh Champom Boafo, who says Ghanaians are losing faith in the Galamsey fight due to the lack of prosecution of powerful forces behind the menace.
There are reports that powerful persons in this country are behind these illegal activities. Mr. President, our constitution makes it clear that every person is equal before the law. We cannot deal with this menace in a perfunctory manner, where high liberals are arrested and prosecuted for engaging in illegal mining, whilst their powerful sponsors. It is crystal clear that most of these hide hands do not have the means to purchase the equipment used in illegal mining. The time has come for action. The time has come for anyone involved in Galamsey, irrespective of social status or membership of a political party, to be dealt with in accordance with law. The recent media reports that the notorious Aisha Wang has resurfaced in Ghana under a false identity and has even resumed her suspected acts of illegal mining some 4 years after her deportation from this country is equally worrying.
That's the president of the Ghana Bar Association, but addressing the circumstances surrounding the arrest and deportation of Aisha Wang, president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, says there are questions yet to be answered. He spoke on Whole Bay Stone City FM in the Volta region.
When you have a situation like this woman who was, I'm not still sure whether she was in fact deported or whether she fled the country the first time and has now come back, but whatever. there still seems to be some uncertainty about it. But whichever way it is, she has become the sort of nickname for all that the Galamsey represents. And unfortunately, also for the involvement of Chinese nationals in Ghana in this particular illicit trade. We have constantly to work at it. We need to have the cooperation of the courts. Until recently, till I came, the punishment for people caught was relatively light, fine. Going to go to custody, this is relatively minimal. We've taken just punishment. So
Did Aisha Wang re-enter the country after her supposed deportation? Yes, President Akufo-Addo.
It is not necessarily an indication that our security is weak, but it is a fact that our borders are relatively porous. And I think there's just no point in anybody saying to the contrary. It is a simple truth. And with porous borders, of course, it means also the possibility of criminal elements being able to infiltrate and come into the country without so much difficulty. But you have a situation whereby the spread of the law enforcement agencies was able to trap this woman. Yeah, she didn't turn up at the police station and say, I am Aisha. So that in itself is also telling you that people are not sleeping. Yes, somebody can find a way to come back into the country through unofficial means, change their identity. And obviously she didn't try plastic surgery to change her appearance, but she even came under different names. But at the end of the day, the security and the law enforcement agencies have been able to apprehend it. I think we need to encourage them to do more such work and to cooperate with them, because my understanding is that it was a tip-off. It was a tip-off from some of the people in her vicinity who indicated to the security, the law enforcement agencies that she was operating in that area. That cooperation is extremely important.
President of Ghana, Akufo-Addo, there speaking on home base Stone City FM in the Volta region. Well, security analyst Adam Bona is calling for the dismissal of the Immigration Service boss for apparent confusion over Aisha Wang's arrest and deportation.
I would want to hear the president or the president direct that from now on he is going to monitor closely what is happening within the Ghana Immigration Service. Go to KIA. How many Chinese nationals are arriving in Ghana on, taking visas on arrival? They board planes, go through either Dubai or go through, call it Addis or somewhere else, and they land at Kotoka. And visas are already arranged. This is an open secret. And so as far as I'm concerned, I have said it, that if you put a retired and tired immigration officer to be at the helm of affairs at the Ghana Immigration Service, then obviously those who appointed him will not be briefed, because you have Techi, who is supposed to be on retirement, and he's been given 2 years contract. And I say that the situation is going to get worse if Techi doesn't go.
That's security analyst Adam Bona there. This is a story we'll be exploring further subsequently. There's also more on myjoyonline.com. But away from that, the Ghana Cocoa Board is warning of dire consequences for Ghana's cocoa production if illegal mining is not checked immediately. Miners are said to be forcefully taking over farms and in some instances paying very insignificant amounts of money to farmers. The already concerns the nation could potentially have some restrictions imposed on it by the European Union due to breaches of guidelines against deforestation. Latif Idris has more in the following report.
Japan has already taken the lead by reducing importation of Ghana's cocoa beans after the discovery of chemical residue in the beans exported to the Asian country.
When I talk about threats to the environment emanating from galamsey and the use of banned chemical substances, I'm not a scientist, but at least I know it goes into the groundwater and it comes up through the food chain. And I think Japan has either reduced or banned cocoa, the raw beans, because there have been some residue, chemical residue. It's only a matter of time that other countries and other producers or buyers will say the quality of that product is not good enough.
The European Union is seriously considering a harsher approach. The proposed new EU legislation on deforestation could hurt cocoa exports from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. The two West African nations account for over 60% of global cocoa beans production. After years of caution, the European Union Commission in November 2021 put forth a regulation on deforestation-free supply chains, and cocoa was one of 5 global commodities selected for stricter regulation.
If we go back to the 2017-2018 escape of Aisha Wang and the argument that she has been released because we were looking for the Sino-Hydro loan and that where she should be to be prosecuted, it could affect the loan, then Aisha is not an ordinary Chinese gangster. She's an agent of the state. She's a spy.
It therefore brings into sharp focus allegations by security expert Professor Kwesi Enin that the Chinese government may have deployed spies to collude with some Ghanaians to destroy Ghana's forest in order to trigger the EU ban on the country's cocoa beans.
Now, all those who do this mining, people that we know, or they are people who are aligned to groups and organizations that may not want this country's welfare, but are interested in infiltrating these communities and gangs and panning for high value, small, easily transportable, easily hidden, and easily sold.
Well, Public Affairs Manager of Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, says illegal miners are using coercive means as part of their strategy to take over cocoa farms.
I think the effect has been felt already. The effect has been felt because if you look at our production figures, for example, this year, we can say that illegal mining has had an effect on it. And the danger is staring us in the face. And we need to get some resolution to this problem, because day in, day out, you have farmers who come to us with complaints that, well, with the support of some chiefs, illegal miners are taking their lands. Some farmers, on their own volition, smelling some money coming to them, do give it out. And like I indicated, some force also being applied, and these farmers give out their lands.
Well, Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister George Mrekuduka says government's fight against illegal mining is on course.
It's part of our study as a ministry and as a government to make sure that at all costs we protect our river body, we protect our heritage as a country. People say that, are we losing the fight? I would say that no. And let me comment the media as well for the effort you are making to indeed sensitize and conscientize the general populace as we need for us to protect our integrity as a country. It is important and key. We've laid down various strategies, making sure that we procure both for immigration officers, for naval command, for all security agencies who can be brought on board to fight this canker.
Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister there, George Mrekuduka, speaking on PM Express. You recall that somewhere last week, the District Chief Executive for Lembele, Kwesi Bonzo, was arrested regarding illegal mining-related matters. Well, he's been speaking to us on this, and he accused the police of obstructing, or he was accused by the police of obstructing an operation to retrieve missing excavators. The DCE tells Joy News he did no wrong and will continue to fight illegal mining.
Every rational human being will look for evidence. Because earlier on, when we brought the police to take over, to watch over the machines, because we didn't take pictures of the machines together with the police, it became their word against my word. So this time, I wanted to prevent, and we are where we are, whereby the truth, every truth is coming out because of the action to take the videos. That is what I think infuriated them, and they took the action that they took.
But if you say you have no knowledge of what's happening, Why does your name keep coming up in everything that has to do with Galamsey in Elembele?
Because I've been fighting Galamsey. As a DCE, all Galamsey operation that has gone on, I have been the person writing official complaint. I've had to go to court to testify against Galamseyers on several occasions. So my record of fight against Galamsey is well known, it's well documented, everybody is aware. But of course, in doing that, you step on some toes. We all know that Galamsey activity is a complex activity. It's an underworld. There are a lot of people behind it. Look, if you arrest one Galamseyer, the number of people who call you to intervene on his behalf, you have no idea. And they cut across party lines, across on some tools. And then the interesting part was that there was an attempt to blackmail me so that I could probably shy away from the fight. How would they do that? By accusing me of being one of them. I'm sure by now, in this matter, knowing what has happened, if I had been involved, I'm sure there would have been something that would have implicated me in this matter.
Elembele DCE Kwesi Bunzo. My next story may sound like you've heard it before, but no, it's a new story. We are heading to the northeast region where scores of people are stranded in several communities as spillage of the Bagri Dam leaves many homes, farmlands and roads submerged. The dam was opened 2 weeks ago and it's expected to coincide with heavy rains and likely cause massive floods across some 185 communities and affect an estimated 200,000 people in the north of the country. We'll take you there live shortly, but first, here's correspondent Ilyasu Tanko, who visited the communities earlier.
53-year-old Alasan Yao is a subsistence farmer at Pasingpe community in the Western Presi municipality of the Northeast region. Together with his senior brother and 2 teenage boys, they have been working around the clock to harvest the crops on these 2-hectare maize fields in response to a flood alert issued by the National Disaster Management Organization.
We hear that they are going to split the Bagre Dam. And after now, the maize is not yet matured. And when it's not mature like that, when you harvest the crop, you don't have place to dry them. So normally, at times, most of them will spoil. So because of the Bagre Dam that we are harvesting them early like that.
When the spillage of the dam often occurs during this period every year, farmers are compelled to harvest their crops in their immature state.
When we are in it, fighting to get our foodstuffs, maybe some of them will lose their life through that.
Ilyasu Tanko joins us live with the situation today. Ilyasu, paint a picture to us about what the situation is as we speak.
Well, we have confirmation from the Pasingpe in the that some farms have been submerged this morning as a result of the increased rains that the area has been witnessing, which has coincided with the spillage of the Bagre Dam. And also in the Mampuku-Muaduri district, communities like Punkwa, Wareba, and several others are area. So,
I hope the spillage of the Bagri Dam has not affected Ilyasu's phone lines, but subsequently we'll get details of that. But this afternoon, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says the decision by the National Communications Authority to order the blocking of unregistered SIM cards is illegal. The NCA rolled out a number of punitive measures against users who were yet to comply with the new SIM re-registration regulations. Reports indicate that the NCA has rolled back this order. However, the Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says the NCA had absolutely no power to issue such an order.
We do not think that the NCA have the power and authority under the 1992 Constitution to curtail fundamental rights with those mere directives that they have given. The story is told even of a refugee who wants to get registered onto a Ghana card. When he goes, they are charging him as a normal foreigner. Let them be told that there is a distinction between a refugee in Ghana and a foreigner living in Ghana and the obligations thereon.
Well, parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante was at this news conference. He joins us live. Kweku, so the minority leader, who also happens to be a former communications minister, has been questioning the basis of the charge of using persons with this self-service app, amongst others. Tell us more.
So the minority leader says that pursuant to the powers of parliament, the Fees and Charges Act enables them to set the pricing for this. He does not think it is in the power of the NC and the Minister for Communication to just set up these prices for the self-service app, and that what they are charging now is illegal.
I'm aware that the state is funding the National Identification Authority, and a number of releases have been made to the National Identification Authority. How do we reconcile the income they are making against the state sponsorship of that activity, against demanding value for money in the execution of a national ID card system? It is a view of the minority that the NCA is acting ultra-virus in curtailing the exercise and enjoyment of the right to privacy of communication. And as I emphasize, the government is proceeding erroneously as if every Ghanaian has a Ghana card. It is not the case.
Former Communications Minister and Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News. Is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We're on Spotify, live on Facebook, myjoyonline.com, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We've been looking at President Akufo-Addo admitting that there are uncertainties surrounding purported deportation of Chinese illegal miner Aisha Wang. We've been talking about how she managed to evade security to re-enter Ghana. When we return, we have sports, and then we'll be talking about the incredible rise to fame of 22-year-old Ghanaian musician Black Sheriff, who's been nominated for the prestigious BET Awards in his third year as a musician. Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports now. Ms. Bao, what do we have?
Well, yesterday, Kumasi Asante Kotoko emerged victorious all the way in Benin. They beat RC Diogo. Yeah. It was an important victory because it's the preliminary round of the CAF Champions League, and they needed to win that, and they'll be playing the second leg at the Barra Sports Stadium later this month. However, former CEO of the club, Opoku Nti, has been speaking, and he says that he's backing the club to qualify to the next stage of the competition, while also cautioning fans to be very careful as far as their expectation is concerned.
If they will gel, it means they have to continue winning, going to the next stages. Other than that, it will be very, very difficult. Gradually, they will reach that stage. So we shouldn't draw a conclusion, but I believe that they're coming to come out. They will qualify for the next stage of 2 days matches. As for expectation, we need to lower it, but to give our maximum support to them.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko, you don't seem particularly happy.
When you have the person producing the show and Asante Kotoko fan, that's what happens.
But just an important piece of information. You know Anthony Joshua, you know Tyson Fury. These are two heavyweight boxers, and what we have picked up is that they have agreed to fight in December, 3rd December. So bring you details of that as
Christmas come early, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao. Now, the minority in Parliament is appealing to teachers in colleges of education across the country to return to the classroom in the larger interest of the teacher trainees, where teaching and learning in all 46 colleges of education have ground to a halt owing to a decision by lecturers to vacate campus for the next 28 days. They say is their mandatory annual leave. We can hear from the ranking on the Education Committee, Peter Nochukotoi.
Fair Wages and Salaries Commission are working on. I don't think you need to do that for the sake of the students, because they were on strike. We appealed to them, they came back, the negotiations are going on. So I will appeal to them again on behalf of the committee that they should rescind their decision to go on that annual leave, so that they can take care of the students, complete their studies, then they can also continue as well with their demand.
It's been almost 6 days into the action, and we are told that leadership of Prinkov, CTAG and GTEC are meeting on the matter to get the teachers to go back to the classroom. But we're yet to hear from the Ministry of Education on this. My colleague Blessed Suga is at a meeting where Dr. Yawase Educhum, the sector minister, is inaugurating the governing board for some 16 colleges of education. Blessed, have you been able to get any reaction or comment from the minister on the CTAG mandatory leave?
Well, Emefa, the minister is just a few minutes from now, so we're waiting if there'll be any official answers on what the government intends to do with regard to the CTAG SATL strike, as some experts are calling it. Beyond that, on the issue of the inauguration of the boards, the minister has been inaugurating a total of 17 boards that's the Council of Governing Councils for the teacher trainee colleges across the country, and in all that will bring you to 27. We are waiting that the arrears, which is about 19, will be done in a phased approach.
I want you to graduate students who are empowered and are self-confident, who don't need to whip a child, cane a child, in order for that child to respect them. Teachers who invariably resort to caning may not know of other ways of getting the attention of children. And that is why I have concerns when I see that you are requiring your students to wear uniform. College, bachelor's degree, and they are wearing uniforms. Some of you want the trainees to submit, and that is not discipline.
That's Education Minister Dr. Yawase Educhum. It's time for our Dry Safe campaign. And acting head of the Trauma and Emergency Unit at the 37 Military Hospital, Major Dr. Edu Jemfi, is calling for the retrofitting of all ambulances in the country to suit purpose.
When it comes to trauma, we look at three main things. We have to look at the pre-hospital care, the transportation of the patient, and also the hospital care. We have bought some ambulance as a country, but I think we have to look at how we are going to make use of them by retrofitting them to suit purposes that we want to achieve. So, for example, we can have different types, like a basic life support ambulance, where you know that if somebody has just a minor pain or issue that is related to an outpatient, you can use that for. But in a situation where a patient or group of patients have been involved in an accident, somebody has a chest injury, abdominal injury, you cannot send those ambulances. You need to send advanced trauma life support ambulances.
And that's our Dry Safe campaign. Well, all supporters and fans of Kweku the Traveller, gather round.
In a string of sermons, Black Sherif took over the music landscape with catchy hooks and choruses that got many singing along. Major international and local collaborations.
This became tongue.
Crowned for the best international flow.
Remember my name, remember you know a traveler.
Fast rising Ghanaian musician Black Sherif, and is set to compete for the BET Awards for Best International Flow. Mapitso Sibidi is here. It looks like he's got social media talking.
It has, and let's go to Twitter where Night Walker says Black Sherif benching the top 3 S's in Ghana music industry hasn't been talked about enough, and we know who the 3 S's are, right? It's Sarkodie, it's Shatawale, and Stonebwoy. And let's go to AMJ Success, who says nah, Black Sherif is far gone, BET nomination isn't a joke. And the last one from Konkara_GH says Black Sherif getting nominations or a nomination in BET. This should be your guideline. The Sarkodie, Shatawale, and Stonebwoy are finished. It's high time we move on.
And he's been in the industry for just what, 3 years?
3 years.
And he's 20 years.
So this is like the story of where preparation meets grace.
Charlie, He's a traveler and he's
Yeah.
going places.
Yeah.
And congratulations once again, Black Sheriff. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am not sure Aisha Wang was deported from Ghana. That's President Akufo-Addo speaking. Also, GBA defends use of its conference by Attorney General to criticize Mahama. And also, you can't take my right to speak from me, Mahama tells Dame. That and more on myjoyonline.com. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil coming up. Please stay for it. I am Emefa Apawu.